Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Invictus PlayStation Formula 4 League. You are joined just by myself, Andriy, in the commentary box. Once again, I hope you're all having a great evening. I'm having a pretty good one myself, and I do hope it just does get better as the F4 drivers do take to the track tonight. And if it does, and if you do enjoy the show tonight, do make sure to leave a like on the stream. It does help us out to get it out to a slightly wider audience. And it also helps me personalize the experience a little bit for you guys and lets me know when I'm doing well, when I'm not doing so well, and it just improves the quality of the stream for everyone, to be honest. So a like would be greatly appreciated. Let's aim for 10-15 likes this evening. That would be brilliant. Do make sure to follow Invictus Racing League on our social media platforms as well, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel, of course. We have had quite a busy schedule this week. On Monday, we had the IRL PS F1 League. On Tuesday, we had the PS F2 and the PS F2 and the Xbox F1 League. And tonight, we have 4 shows for you tonight. It's a very busy day. We have the PS F3, the PS F4, of course, and the PC F1 and F2 leagues as well. And tomorrow, we have the PlayStation Realistic Performance League with Malc and Tim. So if you want to tune into that, which has slightly different racing parameters to normal, I guess one could say, where not necessarily the fastest drivers win, then you're more than free to, and I'm sure Malc and Tim would very much appreciate it. Do make sure to head over to the InvictusRacingLeague.com website as well, where you can head to the Apply to Race bit of the website, and you can get yourself involved in the community. It's a great community, I speak from experience. Brilliant, lovely. I mean, it's just great, really friendly. Everything's amazing, and if you want to get involved, then feel free to submit your form, and maybe you'll find yourself on the grid with these guys, or perhaps you will be commentating alongside me in the commentary box, which would make me very happy, having a partner for once. Anyhow, we are of course kicking off now. The stream soon enough will probably get going for round 9 at the French Grand Prix. I'd just like to talk a little bit about Silverstone, of course, though. Last round, we had Nelly 295, the Alfa Romeo driver, Dutch driver as well, who took the win there, and he just adds to his already impressive record so far this season. I mean, he's had God knows how many wins. He's had a streak of wins, and his lowest finishing position was actually 3rd place, and even that was accompanied by a fastest lap. So I mean, if that doesn't show you how much of an impressive and how fast the driver is, then I don't know what does, to be honest. So yeah, he's doing a good job for Alfa Romeo as well in the constructors. Brennan's managed to get 2nd position, and he's hot on the heels of Nelly 295 as well in the championship, and he's trying to, well, keep Mercedes in 1st place in the constructors, and they are being hunted down very closely by McLaren, who are being hunted down very closely by Alfa Romeo as well. And Nelly is just 6 points ahead of Brennan's in the driver's standings there. And speaking of McLaren, they came 4th and 6th respectively in Silverstone, so they had a pretty good day there. Almost the high scoring constructors, I believe. But of course, Nelly managed to. He did a very good job for Alfa Romeo. So he scored them the most points there, constructors-wise, that race. So again, very good job for him in the constructor standings. Yeah, Alfa Romeo just 6 points behind McLaren. So if McLaren don't get a move on to Mercedes quick enough, then I'm sure the Alfa Romeo guys will overtake them and take the fight to the German-based team themselves. Eric Pancakes managed 3rd as well last time out at Silverstone for the Racing Point team, which was quite nice to see. But yeah, so far, a very impressive run for those few drivers up there. And McLaren themselves, they've actually had, they've had some really good points finishes over the season. The only race they had a real blip at was Austria, where they got 6 points. But that was, of course, the race that we had the changing conditions, wet rain came down. They went to the intermediates first, then had to switch to the full wet, some of the drivers at least. So that was a bit of a difficult race. And I know not everyone's fond of wet conditions, so I'm sure that threw up the pack a little bit. AlphaTauri team actually did quite well there, scoring 15 points that race in Austria. And they find themselves in 4th, just 6 points behind the Alfa Romeo team as well, actually. So Joe Hamster and Daryl Whiffen, both in that Italian-based team. Daryl Whiffen, actually, he didn't have a great race last time around at Silverstone, so he'll be looking to improve on that. I think I called him the heroic driver of the day, because he did come across the line despite being, well, quite a while behind the rest of the pack. And yeah, he was at a quite disadvantage at the time, but it was good sportsmanship from him to finish the race and not quit it, which was quite good. Craig as well, perhaps he'll be looking to perform a little bit better today as well, after a disqualification last time around in Silverstone, as I saw from the standings. But I know that wasn't entirely his fault, because he did have some technical difficulties surrounding his racing, so he couldn't he couldn't fully complete the race there, and I think we had some technical difficulties as well last week. But yeah, he'll be looking to improve on that. So we have our first comments coming through. Keep the comments coming through, guys. It's great to see you getting involved with the stream. If you have any predictions to make, anything, I'll be more than happy to get involved and yeah, keep you up to date on that stuff. Just make it a bit more of an interactive experience for everyone. As we're just heading into France, of course, France now onto the matter at hand. French GP, it's round 9 in the F4 Championship now. Le Castellet is called, and it finds itself in the south of France. Very sunny, hot weather. Of course, England's coming out of lockdown, but France is going into a lockdown. But the beauty of virtual racing is that we can attend the track and we can have all of the fun and all of the fun racing, everything, without having to adhere to all the social distancing, masks and hand sanitizer business that we have. So that's the great thing about virtual racing, and I hope I do get across some of that action and entertainment for you tonight. So it hosted its first Grand Prix in 1971, and it returned to F1 in 2018 and hosted its first Grand Prix since 1990. So it's a returning track, fairly new to turn the calendar. And since then, it's had a few renovations. In particular, the pit lane, which you're just watching right now as the drivers rev up their engines. You could just about hear them in the garage start to go out. So the pit lane got moved. It used to be at the start of the start-finish straight. You'd have to dive to the right side of the track, and it was quite a dangerous little spot. Really awkward as well. So it's probably for the better that they changed the position of it. It's now just after turn 14, and it finds itself, so you veer off the right side of turn 14 just before turn 15, and you head into the pit lane. It's a much nicer way of doing it, I think, in my opinion. So that's great, to be honest. And it's also had the addition of the Mistral chicane at the end of the Mistral straight, or the chicane Nord, as it is sometimes called, on the 1.7 kilometer long Mistral straight, where they'll be reaching their highest top speeds there. And that just helps the F1 cars scrub off a little bit of speed and gives them a nice overtaking zone as well, because it is accompanied by a DRS zone, the other of which is placed at the start-finish straight. So it does help them quite nicely a lot with the overtaking there. And the safety systems of the track were actually tested quite harshly. Almost, they were tested. They were giving a very good run for their money when Alexander Wirtz, a McLaren driver in 2005, had I think the fastest ever recorded crash in F1 history at 300 kilometers per hour. He made 2 impacts with a barrier after his tyre exploded from a puncture. Exploding tyres, keep that in mind for a little bit later, ladies and gentlemen. You'll see what I mean. But yeah, he thankfully lived. So he lived to see another day, and he continued his racing career. But yeah, just shows you how great the safety systems are in F1, really. And one thing you'll see concerning safety systems around France, actually, is that there are no gravel traps or anything like that present around here. In fact, instead, you can see, as we're on board with the Alfa Romeo driver, or Prezi boy here, is on the medium tyres, the outside of the track, those blue and red stripes, they are very highly abrasive surface, and they help to stop the car. And there's been a lot of debate about, what's safer, gravel traps or not. Gravel traps they can make F1 cars flip as well. As we've seen in, I believe, 2016, 2015, Fernando Alonso in Australia, his car flipped and he hit a gravel trap at just the right angle. So yeah, a lot of debate ongoing about these kind of runoff systems for tracks. But yeah, the highly abrasive surface does sometimes actually save the drivers, and it is sometimes safer than a standard gravel trap. Anyhow, back to the track really quickly. It consists of 15 turns. It's a 5.8 kilometer track, or 3.6 miles. And plenty of tricky turns as we're seeing the Alfa Romeo driver navigate through. He's just coming to the end of Sector 1 here. He's just gone across that Sector 1 timing board there. Very tricky few set of corners. You need to get a really good runoff and a really good exit for the Mistral straight here, as he's heading down into the Mistral chicane just there. And he'll be reaching his highest top speeds there. He's got his DRS open, ERS on full as well, probably as well. On hot lap, he's on those medium tyres. He'll be looking to make his way up there, braking quite nicely and getting a very nice exit down, running down to turn 10. So yeah, plenty of tricky turns. Track limit's also quite tricky around here. Very easy to invalidate, especially on the exit of turn 1. You can get a little bit too comfortable, drift out wide, and then you'll find your lap invalidated. So we might see a few drivers get caught out by that. In fact, we'll see by the timing screens as they start finishing off their laps. So in general, yeah, pretty tricky track. A bit Marmite as well, I think that's the best way of describing it, to be honest. Not all drivers love it. Some do, some don't really like it too much. I myself, not a massive fan of it, particularly because I've had some awful luck around here recently. But we'll see what these F4 drivers think of it tonight, as we have our first banker laps coming in. Joe Hamster with a 129.5, Tim Manzi a 129.4, so low 129 so far. We'll probably see them drivers break into the 128 this lap as Craig has left the session. Unfortunately, another disconnection for him. I hope that's not too much of a problem. But so far, 129.4s, yeah, low 129s. We'll probably see the drivers breaking into the 128s. As we can see, Prezi Boy, currently on the medium tyre, already gets a little bit drifty with the rear end, shall we say. A bit comfortable there on the medium tyres. Perhaps they overheated a little bit after his lap, although I doubt that, to be honest. But one thing with France is that the tyres do get, the setups rather, are very, very dependent on rotation, which means, oh, a little bit of side-by-side action here, why not? Look at this, ladies and gentlemen, it's only qualifying. Don't get too racy with us yet, F4 guys here. But Brennan's there, I think he's just finished off a lap there, I believe. 129.7 for him. Quite nice lap there. But no, like I was saying, setup-wise, yeah, rotation is what the setups are based on. And of course, lots of rotation means there's, well, the potential for there to be a spin, or the high likelihood of there being spins and stuff like that. So we'll see maybe a little bit of those spins there as Brennan's just heading through turn 7 onto the Mistral straight there. Very easy to get your rear end completely wrong there, actually, as well. So you can completely lose it there if you're not careful enough, and that could be curtains for you. We'll go on board with on board. There you go. That's a word. On board with Sir Spud. He's just heading down the Mistral straight, down through to the Mistral chicane for the Red Bull team. So Spud himself, he's got some nice points finishes. Perhaps not quite maybe what he wanted to. He's got one podium. Actually, in Japan, he got a 3rd place, which was quite nice. So he'll be probably looking to get a little bit higher up the grid today. Maybe get himself a podium, get himself some nice points finishing positions today. But we'll see what he has to say about that. As he's just heading through turn 11. Quite easy to go out wide here, but you need to hook up the apex, get it nicely out on the exit, and he's going to be heading into turn 12 nicely. Hug the apex in there. Very, very easy to touch that, actually, and then you can find your car going round very quickly. So important not to do that too much. Carry as much speed as you can through the last few turns. Turn 14 and turn 15 now. He's going to be making that apex there, heading on using up all of the track as much as he can, and he's going to be heading down to the line. What can he do for us tonight? He can do a 32.4 so far, and he's on 2 laps on those soft tyres. One of the drivers, I think, who just likes to go out for a few runs and just kind of get comfortable with the track in qualifying and maybe speed up slowly over the course of the lap, over the course of the qualifying session rather. A few drivers on those medium tyres as well. Oh, Stephen, he's just going through sector 3. He's 2 tenths up on his lap time, so he's on those medium tyres. He's doing the same kind of strategy, so he's going out for a few runs on those medium tyres rather than just one outright hot lap. So he's got about 50% left in his battery, plenty enough with the hot lap mode. Hot lap mode isn't actually the worst for your battery. There's overtake I think is more taxing to the battery life, to the battery percentage rather. So hot lap you can do maybe a few laps with it. Perhaps he's taken one recharge lap as well. But he was slightly quicker in sector 3. Let's see if he can improve on his lap. On these medium tyres, he'll want to improve. Medium tyres are the tyre of choice, really, to start on, and he's going to be finding himself in 8th position with a 135. He's only 2 tenths off of Racing Tej, who's on that soft tyre, of course. His Tinnis off Chanel. I didn't really notice, but he's currently in 1st position with a 129.1. It's a very nice lap from him, as you can see. They'll be breaking into those 128s soon enough. But currently, he finds himself in 1st position on those soft tyres. Very nice to see. I wonder if any of the medium guys will end up heading out onto soft tyres towards the end of the race, towards the end of the qualifying rather. Like I said, the medium tyres, if you can start on them, and we'll most likely see all the drivers outside the top 10 choosing the medium tyre, because the medium hard strategy is a much better strategy around this track. The surface, like I mentioned, the blue stripes you can see there, they're very abrasive, but the tarmac itself is also quite abrasive around France. It's just a very high tyre wear track, so the tyres are really not kind to your tyres at all. So the soft tyres do wear out quite quickly, so do the hards actually. The guys starting on the softs, they'll be wanting to pit onto the hard tyres at around lap 7ish. If you pit any earlier, you'll definitely be at risk of a puncture. Any tyre wear on the hards above around about 60% is within that puncture range, so you've got to be quite careful actually. And it's quite easy to get that puncture, as we saw some of the guys in PlayStation F1 prove earlier on in the week on Monday. So you'll probably want to pit around lap 7 and then kind of make it to the end on those hard tyres. But of course, the guys on the mediums can take those mediums just a little bit further and will have just a bit more life on those hard tyres. So they won't have to worry too much about punctures, and they will be able to, well, hopefully use up their tyres a little bit more and be a bit more aggressive. And then that way they can make up a little bit more time and set faster race lap times, and yeah, they should be overall quicker. Speaking of quick, Lewis Williams currently in second position with a 1:29.1. It's 8 minutes into the qualifying session, so the drivers will be out for their last few runs now. We'll go on board with the Renault driver of Louis 675R, who's just, I believe, starting off qualifying lap here. We'll see. Yes, he definitely is pushing through the first 2 turns. If we can see, oh, he slightly invalidates there. Speaking of him, well, perhaps he's had a little bit of champagne already today. We don't know, because it is actually his birthday. So he is the birthday boy this evening at the IRL PS League. So we'll see if any of the drivers are particularly kind to him today. Perhaps not. Perhaps it'll be the opposite. Perhaps they'll want to give him a bit of a harder race, so it's one to remember. But we'll see what they think of that. So he's currently in 15th, invalidated his lap, of course. I'm sure he'll want another go at it. Craig still in the pit lane, the Scottish driver, having a few problems connection-wise, as we see our first sub-129 time. Eric Pancakes on first, currently provisional pole for the Racing Point team there. He set a 1:28.7. Quite a nice lap from him there. We'll go on board with the McLaren driver Tim Manzi. Let's see if he can beat that. He's just heading down the Mistral straight. Could be heading into the Mistral chicane any second now, braking quite hard for it. Nicely hitting that curb there. Oh, going out a little bit wide. That won't be very good to his lap time. Just using up that track though. Not great, but he'll have another run to improve on that, so I'm sure he'll want to. Brennon's currently in second place as well, a 1:28.9. Very nice lap from the Mercedes driver there. So he finished in second last time around. Currently Nelly only finds himself in 7th. He was the first winner, but we'll see if he can improve on that. Yes, he does actually. 5th position currently, 1:29.3. Still got a little bit more left in that lap, I reckon. But Tim Manzi now, McLaren driver, heading through the final few turns. Let's see what he can do. Will he improve on his lap? He's not got into the pit lane. He might be up a little bit on time, but he might not be. He might be up just fractionally. Let's see what he can do, ladies and gentlemen. He keeps it nice and clean out of turn 15. Coming down the start-finish straight with that DRS wide open. What can he do as he crosses the line? Not much, really. He's just up by a 10th, I believe. So a 1:29.3 there for him. But if he hadn't have gone wide at that Mistral chicane, I perhaps think he's got quite a lot more time left in this lap. Quite a lot more time to find, rather. So if he finds that, then he'll find himself a bit further up the grid, hopefully. We'll go on board with Daryl Whiffen here, who's on a flying lap as well, I believe. It was a bit difficult to tell now, but no, he is definitely, yeah, he's on a flying lap here. So like I said, he'll be looking to perform in France after his rather, well, perhaps maybe not, he's getting a little bit, he's invalidated his lap, unfortunately, there. Got just outside of the white lines, and that is that really for him. Perhaps a little bit of the pressure of having the stream on him, but we'll go off for now. Let's watch another driver. Let's watch Titus Chanel, who's also invalidated his lap. Wow, so maybe I should just turn off my stream, perhaps? Maybe that way they won't invalidate any laps? I don't know. Let's watch someone who, well, let's not invalidate anyone's lap, hopefully. Let's try and avoid that as much as we can. We're on board with Tim Manzi right now, who's, well, as one would say, sending it, I guess. Still, he's probably quite determined to improve on that lap. I think he realised he'd gone wide, and he thinks he's got a few more runs more on this soft tyre. Of course, if you can improve straight away, why not go for it? That way he'll have still one fresh set left at the end to improve on, and that way he'll know he'll have done maybe the best he possibly can. And let's see what he can do. DRS wide open once again, coming down this start, finish straight and across the line. Wow, second position, 1:28.9. What a great lap from him. Wow, well done so far. He's currently in second position. He's done 2 laps on those soft tyres. No doubt he'll be coming back to the pit lane now. And he's still got a little bit more time left for one more run, or does he? We'll see if he can manage to fit another one in. Tennis optional, he's invalidated his lap. So yeah, a lot of the drivers coming back into the pit lane now to, well, put on their last set of soft tyres and go out for their final runs soon enough. Currently dry. Last time we had a little bit of rain come at the end of qualifying and at the end of the race as well, actually. But I can confirm, I think a lot of the drivers will be very happy to know, well, they already know, of course, that it is dry, I think, for both sessions, for qualifying and the race. So yeah, that is good to see, I guess, for some of them. That means that primarily the softer hard strategy will be the strategy of choice. And, well, for the guys within the top 10 qualifying on the softs, of course, and for those outside of the top 10, definitely probably the medium to hard strategy. And currently no one finds themselves within the top 10 on the mediums. I think we've yet to see that in the F4 League, but that would be, of course, I mean, that would be brilliant to see. If someone get within the top 10 on the medium tyres, that would just be great to see them really take advantage of that. Louis 675R just on his lap now. He invalidated his first lap. His lap there, as you can see by the track map, it's red, but he's going to start another one, I believe, now. DRS wide open, yeah, he's definitely going for it now. He's just crossing the line. Let's stay on board with him. Let's see what he can do. Heading through turn 1. Can he keep it clean? Oh, no, I think, well, I'm not sure if that's a stream glitch or not, but it appears to be still being validated, my lap. I don't think he is going for another there, so apologies for that, ladies and gents, but, yeah, well, he'll be coming back to the pit lane, fairly soon, and I guess that is that. Stay on board with the Williams driver of Towley in 13th currently. Yeah, Williams, they currently find themselves towards the bottom end of the constructors. Not too many points from them. They got a lot in Austria, so that was the rainy race. Of course, they took a great advantage of that. Took great advantage of the rain. So perhaps they would have hoped for rain today, but no, unfortunately, no cigar, no rain this evening for the Williams team. So they won't. Well, perhaps won't be doing too well. TJ, however, he is currently in 4th position, the 129.1. I don't think Nelly is quite yet answered for this qualifying session. I'm sure the Dutch driver is a little bit more on his lap, but we never know. Maybe his qualifying pace isn't quite as strong around here, but maybe his race pace will have something to say about that. But yeah, currently Williams, yeah, it would be good to see them get a good result. Towley himself, as we're on board with right now, he's not got a whole lot of points this season. Would be looking to get a good points finish in France, to be honest. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do, of course. We're now coming to the relative end of the season. It's going to be finishing off soon enough, and next week we have China. I can confirm I will be there for China, so you will be getting coverage for the race in China, but I'm not sure about the other 2 races. I'm not sure I can commit to them, but China for sure you will see me at. Of course, I'm sure there'll be other plans for the F4 guys to get coverage for the remainder of the 2 races. It'll be interesting to see their season finale, of course. Nelly leading the championship, 71 points. Brennan's just 6 points behind him, 6 points shy. So them 2 will be having a very interesting battle, and I'm sure it will go right down to the last round. And of course, Tim Manzi quite close behind them as well with 51 points. He broke the tie with Joe Hamster last time around at Silverstone. They were tied on the same exact number of points. And he broke that tie. He now finds himself on 51 points, just 1 point ahead of Eric Pancakes, so very close between those 2 as well. But yeah, he'll be looking to retain that 3rd place as much as possible. So a lot of drivers on their outlaps now. We're seeing plenty of red dots in the bottom right side of the screen as drivers head out for their outlaps. Unfortunately, Craig, I believe, is still left this session. I'm not sure what's going on. He's having a little bit of a problem, I believe, with his Wi-Fi. There is Nelly on board with him now. He's warming up his tyres, taking this very seriously. He wants to get the best run he possibly can. He wants to keep that temperature in those tyres as much as he can. We'll stay on board with, I believe, Ultimanzi's there. Yeah, we'll stay on board with Brennan's. Let's see what he can do. No, we'll stay on board with Nelly. Actually, there you go. A bit indecisive this evening, ladies and gentlemen. But we finally decided who we're gonna keep the camera on here, and it will be the Dutch driver of Nelly. It'll be interesting to see if he can improve his lap time. He's just heading through the final few corners now. He's going to be possibly taking a little bit of a wider line through the final turn. Yes, he will, just to get a nice exit onto the start-finish straight, which he does, popping up that DRS. And he's going to be crossing the line any second now. Bam! Across the line. He's now starting his flying lap, his final one here. Through turn 1, let's see if he can keep it clean. Within the white lines. Very much pushing the limits of that Alfa Romeo. Yes, nicely within the white lines. Looks pretty quick on my screen, but we'll see what that actually translates to on the timing board. He's heading through, just finishing off the first sector now. Tricky few set of corners, very easy to get the rear unstable through this one here, but he keeps it quite nicely there. Slightly missing the apex there. No doubt they'll lose him a little bit of time. He's just 800 down, as we believe McLaren has spun off there. I think that is Tim Manzi, so that is unfortunately his qualifying over. Well, I say unfortunately, he's currently in second place, so I don't think he has much to worry about, but he's quite nicely let through the rest of the drivers there. Nelly just heading through that Mistral chicane now, getting a nice exit, very nicely hooked up from him so far. He's going to be heading through to turn 10, the flat out right corner. He set a purple sector 2, not sure whether I believe that or not from the game, but he is 2/10 up on his lap time so far. That will put him quite nicely, wedge him quite nicely a little bit further up the grid, and he's just downshifting there letting his engine do some of the braking. He's using up all of the room on the track through turn 11, heading through here. Let's see, very nice line. He's hooked it up nicely to the apex, using up all of the room. So far, a pretty clean lap from the Alfa Romeo driver. He's carrying all the speed he possibly can through the final few corners, getting a nice exit through the last turn, and he's going to be heading down the start finish straight with DRS open. Let's see what he can do as he crosses the line, and it is a 1:28.7. He just about beats Tim Manzi, so perhaps it wasn't all great for Tim Manzi. He's just been knocked down a position. Let's see if Brennan's can improve on his lap time. Will he knock him down even further? Yes, he will. So McLaren driver tumbling down a little bit there. Brennan's with a 1:28.7. He currently beats Nelly by, wow, it's so close at the top. Look at that. The top three, the second, third and fourth rather, they're all held within, well, just about within a tenth there, within less than a tenth even, as the qualifying session is now, well, over pretty much. So all the drivers finishing off their laps there. Yeah, as I thought, the majority of the drivers on that soft tyre of choice. So O'Stephen did end up going onto that soft tyre, and he's just finding himself nestled right next to his teammate with a 1:29.0, so he's not too far behind him. But wow, what a close session. Tennis option now, however. Well, he broke nicely into those 1:28s, and yeah, he's in first position. He's on pole position, ladies and gentlemen, for the French Grand Prix this evening at Invictus. Still very impressive to see from the Dutch driver. I believe, well, not quite sure again, we have, yeah, not quite an all-Dutch top three like it was. Unfortunately, Brennan's just splitting it there, but we did have an all-Dutch top three last time at Silverstone. Nonetheless, Brennan's lines up in second to finish off the front row of the grid there. Eric Pancakes in third and Nelly in fourth. Again, very tight between those four there, actually. Tin Man Z finds himself in fifth with his teammate in sixth, O'Stephen. TJW in seventh, Lewis Williams in eighth. Ninth, we have Joe Hamster, Daryl Whiffen in 10th, and of course, in 11th, Racing Tej. In 12th, Louis. 13th, we have Prezi Boy. 14th, Tally. 15th is F1 Richard, the other Mercedes teammate for Brennan, so he'll be looking to get some points finishes for Mercedes constructors. So Spud in 16th, and unfortunately Craig in 17th, after I believe a few more connection issues for the Scottish driver. He's really not been having a great past few races recently. Bit of a shame to see. Yeah, he's had a tough few times. He's had a good points finishes in Austria actually. So yeah, he did quite well in Austria with 8 points, I believe. So he got a 4th position there, which is quite good to see. So very good from him. But yeah, recently just not been going his way. But we'll see. Maybe he can rejoin and maybe he could take part in the race now. So we're just looking onto the pit lane now, and it's a little bit overcast here in France, but I've been told it is dry. So I'm going to take their word for it. So it will be dry, just a little bit overcast. So perhaps the clouds just coming out to say hello, but not quite opening up their curtains, one could say. So take a drink there, ladies and gentlemen. My throat's already getting very dry, and I suspect that'll be happening a little bit later on in the race as well. Trying to commentate by yourself is a little bit difficult always. And who knows, well, if I could get a commentary partner, that would be brilliant. And if you want to get involved with the Invictus community, then do make sure to head over to invictusracingleague.com. Head over to the Apply to Race form and send one in. And then you can find yourself on the grid with some of these guys, or perhaps in another role, with the Invictus community. There's plenty of roles available, so you just have to get involved and yeah, see what you can find. Discover what you really want to do here. And do make sure to follow us on our social media platforms as well, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And leave a like on the stream as well. Helps us out a great bunch, as I've said before. So that would be great. We still have 5 likes, 6 likes now. Very nice to see. Edging closer and closer to that like goal of 10 or 15 likes. Yeah, and make sure to stay tuned with the channel. Of course, we're not finished off with France quite yet for the season. We have the Realistic Performance League tomorrow for you guys, so still plenty of action left, and very busy few weeks for IRL. We pretty much have a race week every week now, apart from the week break that we had between the round 6 and 7, I think. So, yeah, pretty busy guys, here we are. And we do love to keep you entertained as the drivers just set off for their laps now. Formation laps rather, and yeah, we're on board with Tim Switch now currently. He is the pole position leader, of course. I'm just trying to get there you go, that's the one. Tires, yep, as I suspected. All drivers outside of the top 10, apart from one, I think. Yeah, Racing Tej. Sticking with that soft tyre choice, so perhaps he's not too confident heading onto those mediums. But the rest of the guys, yep, they have gone into mediums. They have decided to go for that medium to hard strategy, and, well, it'll be very interesting to see what they can do. Of course, on Monday, we saw in PSF1 Harry perform that pretty nicely. He went from 12th to 1st, and of course, he won the Drivers' Championship there, and I believe Renault won the Constructors' Championship as well in France. So that was, yeah, that was great to see, and of course, congratulations to the British driver there in the Renault. Very dominating season from him, it must be said, and he's done a great job, and he thoroughly deserved to win there, and thoroughly deserved Drivers' Championship for him, so great to see. But like I said, yeah, 12th to 1st, very powerful alternate strategy. Some drivers do sometimes opt to qualify even, well, slightly worse and qualify outside the top 10 just to stay on those tyres. Very powerful to go from mediums to hards, as we can see the drivers swerving, trying to get that temperature into their medium tyres. Nice support. We've got some support for Brennon's. We had the Brennon's fan club last time around, and I think the Brennon's fan club is back today. He'll perhaps need a little bit of support today. Maybe Nelly will be looking to put the pressure on him after that qualifying. But no, Tinus Optionel currently socially distancing, I guess one could say, from the rest of the pack. He's getting some distance between himself and the rest of the drivers here today, as we're just getting ready, and just the AI is just going to take over for the drivers now, and they're going to line up on the start finish straight on the grid, of course, to begin the race. But yes, Tinus Optionel lining up in first. Very nice qualifying position from him. He qualifies well sometimes, but he can't always carry it over in the race, so it'll be good to see him do that for once today. I've heard he's pretty quick around here. Well, there's your proof. He is very quick in qualifying, so we'll see what we can do as the drivers line up on their starting grids there, doing a few burnouts there for us as they get ready and get some of that temperature into their rear tyres. They will be fixated looking at those lights. Let's see what they can do. 27 laps to go, a long run down to turn 1, plenty of overtaking opportunities, very easy to get side by side and get it all wrong though. So we'll see if the drivers are going to be careful with it, or if they're going to be aggressive and go for those overtakes right from the beginning. Anyhow, we're looking at the lights now. Well, not really sure now. 3 lights, 4 lights, I guess? No? Okay, never mind. I hope we're not had a glitch now. Now the lights are coming on. 1, 2, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights ahead of the drivers tonight, and it is lights out and away we go. A good start from everyone. I think very good start from the likes of Eric Pancakes now, who's just having a timing glitch, unfortunately. Very apologize for that, ladies and gents, but he's into P1 now so far as he head through turn 1. Brennon's getting side by side with him as well, and Brennon's has gone round, and so has the Ferrari as well. We've had a few cars going round as well. Yellow flag through turn 1. Look at that. Well, we've had a few incidents already. Some medium runners already making up to, making it nicely up. Sorry, timing glitch. I'm being deceived by the game. But no, we've had a few spins there. But Eric Pancakes currently finds himself nicely in first. He got a very good start. Tinus Optionel just slightly bogged down. And Nelly, of course, just behind him. So that was very interesting to see. Yeah, we had a few spins there. The drive's very close to each other, but unfortunately towards the back now. Brennon's, he's not had the best of starts. I wonder if he had a little bit of contact as he went side by side through turn 1. Like I said, if you're not careful, you can find yourself in the wall very soon. And Lewis Williams had the same issue as well. I wonder if it was a mixture of cold tyres or something along those lines. But now the drivers getting very close to each other. Louis as well, the birthday boy, he's on the back of, all over the back of Tin Manzi. He's in 10th position. He's lost quite a few positions off of the start now. He was in 5th, and now he's all the way down to 10th. So it's not been a great start for Tin Manzi either. I wonder what's happened to those drivers. A little bit of contact there, as we have a very close battle at a little bit towards the front of the pack now, as Racing Tej is just trying to put the pressure on the likes of Daryl Whiffen. Nelly currently finding himself in 3rd though, so despite some of the drivers around, they didn't manage to get the best of starts, but he capitalized on it, and he's currently finding himself nicely in 3rd position. But Eric Pancakes is taken off almost into the sunset there. Tinus Optionel is unfortunately out of that 1 second gap for DRS, so that will hurt him a little bit later on in the race. Perhaps we'll see him want to get a little bit closer to him now, as Craig is just overtaking his teammate now through turn 1. And down the inside, he's trying to keep it very clean, doesn't want to have any contact with his teammate, and he doesn't want to have any damage on his car or his teammate's car, so currently finding himself in 10th position, making his way up nicely from last place actually, I believe. So despite missing out on most of qualifying, he's had a good start. He's on those medium tyres as well, so one to watch out for in the later stages of the race. Gaps now well, closing down. The drivers will be looking to keep their within 1 second of the car in front so they can take advantage of that DRS zone, as Brennan's is just overtaken Sir Spud, so he's back on the run now. He's hungry to get back to where he was after qualifying. He is, well, the soft tyre among all those mediums, so he'll have a little bit more grip at the start, but they will wear off very, very soon, so he'll need to make the most of them before that happens, of course. So far, well, we have got a yellow flag as well coming out of the Mistral chicane. I believe that is Lewis Williams, and I think that is terminal damage. I believe he's retired there straight away. A yellow flag in Sector 2. Tin Man Z finds himself at the back of the grid. He did actually get wing damage, it looks like, so he's gone on to those medium tyres, interestingly, there, I believe. Yeah. Well, interesting to see from him. Yeah, a bit of a shame, I think. He's towards the back of the pack. He really needs a safety car there now to really kind of bunch up the pack. But unfortunately, we're not going to get one from that Lewis Williams incident that he had. He had a really rough start there, spun out at the start we saw in turn 1. Perhaps his tyres were a little bit too warm on the warm side, and then that causes spin. And as we get a little bit of action through turn 1 there, the AlphaTauri of Daryl Whiffen getting a pretty awful exit through turn 1, and Racing Tej is going to go down the inside. And can he make the move? Oh, not quite. Daryl Whiffen's going to sweep around the outside. A little bit of contact there between the Ferrari and the AlphaTauri, and will he go for the switchback? Daryl Whiffen going very wide. I wonder if he's got front wing damage. I wonder if Racing Tej has got front wing damage actually from his contact side by side into the Mistral chicane. Let's see if they can keep it clean. Yes, they can. Racing Tej round the outside in the Mistral through turn 7 now onto the Mistral straight. What a brilliant move. I know I missed his move last time round in Silverstone, but wow, it looks like I can't be saying that. Daryl Whiffen almost having a look back on him, but TJ actually made the move on Daryl Whiffen there, so very nice to see. But like I was saying, Racing Tej, he made a brilliant move last time around in Silverstone, which I missed, but I did not miss that one this time, so that was great to see from the Ferrari driver. Overtakes already coming in. These drivers taking advantage of that DRS straight away, and we can see the blinking red light on the back of the Ferrari car, which isn't a great sign. The DRS is quite low, so he's used up a lot of that battery at the start, and unfortunately that means that, well, maybe the drivers behind, well, they'll probably be seeing that red light and thinking, well, I'll be able to overtake him soon enough, won't I? As we're seeing a little bit of position shuffling at the back now. Nelly getting quite close to Tinnis Optionel here. F1 Richard and Louis are fighting it out actually through turn 14, turn 15. A bit of a Mercedes sandwich here. Mercedes and Renault having an interesting position layover right now, as Louis is just finding himself in 11th, just outside those points yet. But like I was saying, Nelly is getting quite close to the back of his Dutch partner, Dutch partner in crime, I guess you could say. Yeah, well, he's getting onto the back of him now, onto the Red Bull driver as they head through turn 6 and 7. Will he take advantage of that DRS zone? Will he use some of that battery? Will he make a move on him? Let's see. Well, I think he might just want to. He's going to be using up a little bit of that battery, I assume. He's turned it off now, but he's going to make the move down the inside of the Red Bull driver. Tinnis Optional doesn't look too fussed with that. He's not too busy defending it. Perhaps he didn't see much of a point, but he can definitely get him back a little bit later on in the race. So we can see the drivers thinking about the long game there, as we're having a very, very tough battle between the Mercedes driver and the likes of Louis. Getting a little bit on the aggressive side. Louis, especially with the track limits there, unfortunately. Like I said, the track limits around France not being particularly kind to him, so he's already picked up a penalty. But these guys were fighting it out in the early stages of the race. We're going to stay on board with them, hopefully catch another one of those battles. It was quite interesting to see between them. Wonder if any of the guys have front wing damage. I saw a little bit of contact between Racing Tej and I think one of the AlphaTauris, but I think he's running fine so far. Perhaps he's got a little bit, but nothing to warrant a pit stop just yet. You, of course, lose quite a bit of time in the pit stop due to the front wing change, 6 or 7 seconds around about, so not worth it, especially at the start there, as Prezi Boy there, I think, got a little bit of a bad exit through one of the turns. He's let through the Williams of Towley. But Louis, let's see if he'll have a go on the likes of F1 Richard very soon. He's got that DRS open. He's looking to hunt him down. F1 Richard doesn't have that DRS, so maybe he'll be looking to get him down that Mistral straight as Daryl Whiffen picks up a 3-second time penalty. That won't do him any good later on into the race. As I said, time penalties coming over now. Lap 5 now, so the soft tyres are going to be wearing off soon enough. This is just around about the time you want to be looking to pit onto the hard tyres. Of course, lap 5 may be a bit too early, might be a bit too soon to pit onto them, because then you'll find yourself well in that puncture territory towards the end of the race, and that will of course not serve you any well. But now we're on board with F1 Richard, but now we're on board Louis. Let's see if he can get close to him. Not quite. He's choosing to stay behind, I think, not really using much of that battery. So we're seeing Craig make a move in Darrell Whiff, and Craig is the man on a charge so far. From last place to 8th, I believe. He's taken advantage of a few of those spins the drivers had at the start, and you can see him hunting through the first of the soft runners. So the soft guys already, their tyres wearing off quite a bit there, as we can see, and Craig is, well, very much taking advantage of that so far. And, well, very nice to see from the Scottish driver. He didn't have the best of qualifying, like I said, but he took advantage of those crashes at the start, and that is all part of being a good racing driver. And unfortunately, just as I say that, he has disconnected from the session. Wow. Well, perhaps I should just stop talking altogether, really. Well, let's see. Well, let's see if he can rejoin. Let's see if he can make any good moves later on. Joe Hamster is the first of the soft runners to head into the pit lane. He'll no doubt go onto the hard tyres there, or maybe he'll be going for the two-stop. I assume he'll be going to hard tyres. No, medium tyres for him, so maybe he's going on for the two-stopper there, as we're seeing a little bit of a position shuffle up between Darrell Whiffen and Brennon's. Brennon's also the man on a charge. He, of course, had his incident, but he's now very much making his way through the pack. He's not letting any of that accidents at the start stop him, as Louis, I believe, went around the outside of F1 Richard there. Nice move. Would have been nicer if he didn't get the penalty, of course, but he looks like he's having a lot of fun on his birthday. Having some nice few battles with F1 Richard, and F1 Richard not giving him the easiest of times, despite him being the birthday boy. So interesting to see between the two drivers here, as F1 Richard's going quite slowly through there, through turn 7 there onto the Mistral Straight. A few drivers getting penalties as well. We've got Spud with a penalty as well, not going to serve him well towards the end of the race. Well, we'll see what he can do. Currently, though, Eric Pancakes, must be said, has pulled a 3-second gap over the rest of the pack, over Nelly as well, which is impressive to see. So we do have that all-Dutch top 3 returning once again, ladies and gentlemen, here at France. But Eric Pancakes, of course, currently, if the race finishes as it is now, he will be exactly where he was after Silverstone at the end of the race. So he'll be finishing in first, and Nelly will be finishing exactly where he was after Silverstone as well in second. So, very interesting to see. Rather, no, sorry, I got that wrong. Not quite. We'll see Nelly, it was the other way around. Nelly, if he was in first, would be finishing where he was after Silverstone. Eric Pancakes has to be in third. He finished in third last time around at the British Grand Prix, so apologies for that. But Racing Tej getting very close to O'Steven, because TJ was putting on pressure onto Racing Tej, and he's decided to get a little bit of a move on. Will he make a move down the inside into turn 1? Can he make it quite nicely there? A little bit of contact. O'Steven backs off a little bit there, perhaps thinking about the long game there, but he does make the move quite nicely into third place. So very nice to see from the Ferrari driver there. But plenty of drivers heading into the pit lane now. Tinus Optional, Darrell Whiffen as well, as I believe that's O'Steven, who's spun around now. He's just spun it. He didn't quite have the traction. I'm not sure what really happened there, to be honest. I'm not sure if that's a puncture or not. I think it may actually be a puncture. I'm not quite sure. It is only lap 7. No, I don't think so. Or is it? Well, no, it's not quite a puncture. He just spun off. No, it is indeed a puncture. It is indeed a puncture. Very difficult to tell that, but the first of the punctures coming through as drivers trying to avoid him. It's all chaos here. As O'Steven was spinning round, his teammates just probably looking at that thinking, yes, this is brilliant for me. I can make my way back to the pack soon enough, but not great for the McLaren team, to be honest. He's spinning off, got that puncture. He's only done 6 laps on those soft tyres, and he's already having a little bit of an issue with them. That just shows you how abrasive the track is. Look at that, ladies and gents. He'll definitely be looking to pit this lap. I mean, he'll be a maniac to stay out any longer on those soft tyres. And he's lost a bit of front wing as well, actually. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like, I'm not even sure. Has he got a puncture? Yeah, he definitely has got a puncture. It looks like he's, well, his front wing as well, to be honest. No clue now anyways, but he's struggling nonetheless with damage and some form of tyre issue for him there. Very worn tyres, but the drivers are eating him up, and it's been a terrible day so far for McLaren. Look at that, getting towards the back of the pack now in 14th and 16th. It's not great for them, and yeah, it's not really looking too good for the McLaren guys. They'll be looking to maybe improve on this, but I don't know if they can, to be honest. They'll be definitely looking for a safety car, as O'Steven's going to head into the pit lane. He'll want a swap of just about everything on his car, but we'll see if he can do anything towards the later stages of the race. Eric Pancakes, of course, pits. He was in first. He has gone onto those medium tyres. He is not the first to blink on the medium tyres. Nelly pitted as well, actually, with him, and as did Tinus Optional. So all of them have now pitted, but Eric Pancakes comes out very nicely ahead of them both. So, I mean, he had a 3-second gap, but now that's definitely more than 3 seconds, for sure, I can tell you that much. But, yeah, so he's definitely got a bit of an overcut there. Perhaps that was just O'Steven going slightly slow with the yellow flag, and the drivers being a bit careful around him and avoiding it. A bit of chaos down that Mistral Straight, of course, we had after that puncture, I believe. Craig, though, currently finding himself in 5th, so perhaps there's a time to come back for him. I don't know, but he's just behind his teammate, and F1 Richard will overtake him here, unfortunately, heading through into turn 10 soon enough for the Mercedes driver. Currently, the medium runners are making their way slowly up to the pack. I assume Brennan's and the rest of the guys will be pitting very soon. Brennan's staying out on those soft tyres for as long as he can, so he's taking full advantage of them. They'll no doubt be very worn now, and definitely the lap to pit, but he's decided to stay out and use up all of that rubber as much as he can. Burn it all off as he peels off into the pit lane there. We can see on the right hand side, and he'll no doubt go onto the hard tyres very soon. Speaking of hard tyres, we don't see many drivers using them yet. So, few hard tyre runners, but a lot of the drivers on the medium tyres, perhaps hoping for a safety car or something, but Brennan's has very much gone onto that hard tyre compound, like I said, so he'll be going to the end of the race. He is now finding himself at lap 9. That should be quite easy for him to make it to the end, despite the worn tyres, and I'm going to have to stop that there because, well, Joe Hamster's going to go for a move round the outside of the Red Bull driver officer spot. Does he make it? He makes it quite nicely there. Will the Red Bull driver make it any difficult for him? He tried to. He definitely stuck his nose down there, and unfortunately that was a mistake for him because Joe Hamster just scraped his car and he got a little bit unstable there, and that let Tinus Optional through as well, his teammate. And so Sparta is of course on slightly older medium tyres, well older medium tyres. Tinus Optional on fresher ones, and he'll no doubt be hunting down Joe Hamster. So, well, that was a tactical let through by Red Bull, and it was very well done from them, but we'll see what Tinus Optional can do. He's using up certainly a bit of that overtake, and DRS, he'll definitely be looking for a move down the inside here. Look at this, he's catching him at a mega rate of knots here, as he's going to go down the inside of the AlphaTauri driver, but he keeps it quite clean there. He doesn't want to make any contact. He leaves him plenty of room, braking very early there, very hard as well. He's going to be using up a lot of that battery to stay with the likes of Joe Hamster. Be interesting to see if he can make a move on him. Of course, he's probably quite desperate to make his way up to Eric Pancakes now, who's pitted ahead of him. They've got quite a few cars between the two of them, and Tinus Optional, he started in first position. He bogged down a little bit at the beginning of the race, so he'll be looking to make his way back up to that podium and no doubt, potentially, back up to that first place. Of course, anything can still happen. We haven't had any safety cars this race. Fingers crossed. For some of the drivers, they'll want one. For some of the drivers, they won't really. But we'll see what can happen as we have a few more drivers picking up penalties. TJW, the last driver to get off of those soft tyres, he's going onto that hard tyre compound as well, so he's going to the end in the Williams team. So he took those soft tyres very far. Very surprising to see after that little incident we had, I think, with O. Steven with his tyres. Both the McLaren drivers are outside of the top 10. This is very uncharacteristic of them, I must say. They normally find themselves in the top 10, normally find themselves picking up quite a few points, but today, not so much, unfortunately, as Tim Manzi overtakes TJW in the pit lane. He's on those medium tyres. I can imagine he's definitely, I mean, they are definitely praying for a safety car back there. Nelly, currently in 12th position. He's pitted onto those medium tyres, and he's going to be fighting it out with Brennan's. Let's see what these two drivers can do. The alternate strategy runners so far, though, definitely doing quite well here, as we can see. So it's just a testimony to how well that strategy works now, as Nelly is going to be using that overtake and that DRS. Brennan's defends the inside line, but no worries for Nelly. He's going to try and make the move around the outside. Brennan's on that hard tyre compound. He will not have the grip advantage over Nelly. Nelly can sweep around the outside quite nicely, and he makes the move up into 11th place. He's getting close to those points-paying positions, and if he makes his way up a little bit further, he'll no doubt be looking to make his way to the podium. Eventually, he's also charged up a lot of his batteries, we can see there, so very tactical from the Alfa Romeo driver, charging it up a little bit, and he's definitely taking advantage of that. Craig, fourth, surprisingly, despite not actually being here, so very good to see from him. Brilliant. The AI doing a brilliant job around here at the PS F4 League. Of course, if you're enjoying it this evening, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to leave a like on the stream. That does help us out quite a lot. We're aiming for 10-15 likes. It would be great if we can hit that this evening. And do make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms as well. Joe Hamster making a move there on Prezi Boy. Through turn 1, sweeps around the outside, almost looked very easy for him, as Prezi Boy not looking very easy for him. 10 laps on those medium tyres. Tinus Optional doing a little bit of off-roading to avoid the slower Alfa Romeo driver there. He's on much fresher rubber, and yeah, Prezi Boy just not enjoying it, I guess. He's got a little bit loose, and that let one of the drivers through, and it might let Tinus Optional through as well at the end of the Mistral straight. So we'll see what the Red Bull driver can do now. Prezi Boy, of course, he's looking to get points finishes. He wants to hold on to this position as best as he can. He wants to stay in the top 10. He won't want to let the Red Bull through. He's defending the inside line. Both of their red lights blinking. Both of their batteries running out. This will be quite a close battle to see, but Tennis Optionel does make it quite easily round the outside. Unfortunately, Prezi Boy on that old rubber just can't quite compete with the Red Bull driver, so he will have to stick behind him. And he will maybe want to use his DRS and sit behind the Red Bull driver, get him to tow him along to the rest of the pack and keep these points. He's currently ahead of Nelly, which normally is the other way around, and he is on that alternate strategy. So again, the preferred strategy is doing a good job so far. We'll see what he can do towards the end of the race. As I say that, he's just spun off. I've just gone off his camera there, so perhaps he... yeah, he just missed that there, but he did spin off, touching that inside curb perhaps at turn 12. Very easy to do, and it does destabilize your car quite a lot. So as we saw there, unfortunately, he's not having all the best of times there, as we're seeing Spud go into the pit lane, the other Red Bull driver, the first of the alternate strategy runners, I believe, to go onto into the pit lane now to pop on, I assume, a set of hard tyres. So he's going to definitely go to the end, and he's going to have much fresher hard tyres than the likes of maybe Brennan's as well, who currently finds himself in 11th, and it'll be interesting to see whether any of these drivers will get any punctures towards the end of the race, dare I say. We certainly saw some in some of the other leagues a little bit earlier on in the week, because we have quite a nice battle here actually going on for 6th position. Nelly has caught up quite nicely to the back of this. He's in 9th position, and Daryl Whiffen's here, probably looking to protect his position as well. Let's see what he can do. He goes to the inside. All of the drivers going to the inside there. They're towing each other now, trying to stay with each other towed. Will it be 3 wide into the chicane? Not quite, but still staying the same. It's an Alfa Romeo sandwich for the AlphaTauri. It's all the Alphas now, finding himself in 7th, 8th, and 9th, respectively, all of them. And Daryl Whiffen now, let's see what he can do. Onto Prezi Boy. Can he make a move? Nelly, will he stick it round the outside? Prezi Boy going a little bit wide, and Daryl Whiffen's going to say thank you very much. He'll take that position down the inside. Prezi Boy isn't quite giving up there. Daryl Whiffen broke a little bit early, and Prezi Boy goes slightly wide onto that those blue stripes, and he loses the rear end a little bit. So the driver tumbling down the order is definitely not having the best of races so far. He has done 11 laps on those medium tyres. Let's see if he peels off into the pit lane now to change them out. Yes, he will. So he will peel off into the pit lane, as a few more drivers are doing that as well. A lot of those alternate strategy runners, but Nelly will stay onto the back of Daryl Whiffen. Plenty of drivers pitting. Craig going into the pit lane, but of course that's not. I don't think that's purely his own choice. I think that's his AI making the decision for him there. But Prezi Boy, he's heading into the pit lane. He'll be very happy to get off that rubber there. A lot of the drivers putting on those hard tyres. So now we're seeing more of the hard tyres come out. This is more what we expected, ladies and gents. Very nice to see from the drivers. They'll definitely all be going to the end, but Nelly still staying very close to Daryl Whiffen now. He's heading through the first sector now, very close to the back of him. Of course, the dirty air doesn't help out through this corner, especially. Quite annoying when you can't get on the power just as early as you normally want to, but yeah, it doesn't have too much of an effect. Clearly, not that much of an effect for Nelly, because he's going to be looking at the inside line. No doubt he'll be using some of that ERS he saved up at the beginning, using some of that full battery. Nice move down the inside of Daryl Whiffen. He makes it into 4th position currently, so we're almost getting back to that all Dutch top 3 now. It's forming up. It definitely is forming up. However, Eric Pancakes has definitely gained a massive advantage when he pitted, so very interesting to see from him. So he's built up a very, very big gap over Tennis Option. Now, of course, problem with pitting then was he came out behind some of those alternate strategy runners, and their medium tyres hadn't, well, completely gone off yet, so still a little bit difficult to make it through there. And yeah, well, interesting to see, because yeah, Tennis Optional, he did get onto the medium tyre, so interesting strategy choice from him. He'll no doubt be stopping again, so will Nelly, but we'll see what they have to say. Perhaps they know more than me in this aspect, but we'll see what the drivers have to say on the strategy front so far. But like I said, no, Eric Pancakes gained a very nice advantage in the pit lane, so he's going to be cruising out in 3rd position. I say cruising, he can't get too comfortable, otherwise he'll probably find Nelly or Tennis Optional soon catching him. Nelly's definitely making his way back up, so is Brennan's actually. He's the highest hard tyre runner so far, highest in both laps and position. Laps not so good, position great of course. Laps does mean he will end up with fairly worn hards at the end, so perhaps he'll want to tyre save them. He's been very kind to them, very smooth with the steering wheel, as we can see, nice and professional from the Mercedes driver here. Perhaps just being a little bit kinder to those hard tyres and wanting to stretch them for as long as he can, as 0 Stephen And it's overtaken Stephen Prezi by having a little bit of a battle back here. I wonder what's happened here as Stephen picks up a 3-second time penalty. It's a recurring theme here at the French Grand Prix. A lot of drivers picking up time penalties at turn 1 for battles they're having. So they'll want to keep it clean. Of course now, that means that drivers don't have time penalties will very much be wanting to keep it that way. And then towards the end of the race, when they cross the line, they'll maybe make their way up a few positions. And we'll see that happening. Tim Manzino getting side by side with the likes of Racing Tej. He's very close to him round the outside of turn 10. Can he make it? Oh, very close between the two. Squeezing. No doubt he'll want that time penalty removed because he got squeezed very hard by the Ferrari driver. Very hard racing between the two of them. What a switchback from Tim Manzi. He hits Racing Tej a little bit there, and Racing Tej is going to be diving back down the inside. Very aggressive from the Ferrari driver, and he spun himself round. I mean, that was just a little bit too optimistic perhaps from the Ferrari driver, just diving down the inside, and he got his rear end a little bit unstable there. Tin Man's here. He's on much older medium tyres, but he's definitely not afraid to go for a gap when there is one. And yeah, he did pick up a 3-second time penalty from being squeezed out of turn 10. So plenty of drivers picking up time penalties for those battles they're having. But Tin Manzi, no doubt, is now pulling away from him. And Louis is very much probably enjoying this because, well, he's caught up to the back of the Ferrari quite nicely, actually, and he'll no doubt be wanting to make a move on him as well a little bit later on. They're going to be staying behind him here. Probably not the best place to make a move through turn 3 and 4 here as they head through a very tricky few sections. They'll be looking to get a good exit down the Mistral straight. I can't imagine it will be too difficult for the Renault driver, but we'll see just how much the Ferrari of Racing Tej will want to defend this. Tim Manzi will be licking his lips as well because he's going to be making up a nice gap over them as they start to battle, and they'll be losing a little bit of time. Will they battle though? I don't quite think so. Louis choosing to stay behind him. He's lifting a little bit there actually, so he's not going to be making a move here on him. Perhaps he sees that Racing Tej is a little bit quicker. Perhaps he knows he's on softer rubber, on fresher rubber rather than Tim Manzi as Prezi Boy picks up another time penalty. Perhaps he'll be wanting to use him to tow their way along up there. So Tim Manzi, he had a good qualifying, dropped down a little bit further. Currently running in 7th position though, in 13. On 13 laps on those medium tyres. Now I don't want to say anything before, don't want to speak too soon rather, because that often doesn't really end well with some of the drivers. So we'll just say he's having a pretty decent race so far. So he'll be definitely looking to perhaps finish a little bit higher. But so far in the points for him and O'Stephen on in 12th on those hard tyres. Of course, Tim Manzi, he is on those mediums, does mean that he will have to pit again. So no doubt he'll drop further back, keep that in mind, and he won't be the only one doing that as well. I assume as well, Tennis Optionel, who's currently in 3rd, he will pit again. I'm just a little bit intrigued on their strategy's choice, to be honest. I'm not sure why they chose those medium tyres over the hards, but maybe they're just not really comfortable with the hard tyres at all. And we'll see what Tennis Optionel can do. He's now getting onto the back of Joe Hamster. He'll be looking to make his way to Eric Pancake soon enough. But Willie, there's a 5-second gap now. His best chance will come here because he's going to go down the inside of Joe Hamster. Can he make the move quite nicely? Yes, he can. No, not quite. Joe Hamster's going to fight it there on the inside line. And the AlphaTauri is just going to give it up there. He almost looked for the switchback move there. And, well, the red light is blinking. So perhaps Joe Hamster will be looking to get a move back on him as well. Nelly is looking at this and loving this very much, probably himself. Plenty of battling from the drivers in front, and that means that he's getting nice and close to them as well. We have a few positions shuffling in the back with likes of F1 Richard and I believe TJW, who just made the move on the Mercedes driver, excuse me. Racing Tej is getting very close to Tin Manzi as well, and Louis just slightly behind him. These two drivers, they almost tangled there at the start, so, well, we'll see what they could do. They certainly gave us a great battle just a little bit earlier on. We'll see if they can give us a good battle now. We'll see what Racing Tej does. His red light's blinking, but he's not going to let that stop him. Plenty of blinking red lights, so a lot of the drivers choosing not to really conserve their batteries much, but instead send it, as I like to say. So they have been sending it the past few laps, and unfortunately that is what happens. Your batteries run out a little bit. Louis, though, catching up onto the back of the Ferrari. Perhaps he's being slowed down by the McLaren. Of course, the McLaren is on much older rubber, so that is probably the reason why. He's all over the back of him, though, and the McLaren looking to defend the inside line. Oh, he moved very late there in the braking zone, and there's contact between the two drivers, and the Ferrari has spun round. Tin Manzi has just about kept it there. No doubt that was, well, I mean, they definitely had an aggressive battle earlier on, but wow, they definitely were not being very kind to each other there. No doubt Racing Tej is perhaps not the happiest of gentlemen now after that one, but well, in fact, he's left his overtake on, so he must be a little bit furious. I'll see if he turns that off as well a little bit later on, but he's losing positions now. I wonder if he's got a little bit of front wing damage, the Ferrari driver. Well, that was very, very hard racing between the two of them. Tin Man Z now on the back of Louis 675R. Perhaps not the best of choices for him to really defend it that hard. He moved very, very fast in the braking zone, I think. And yeah, he is on that older rubber, so it would have been in his best benefit to let Racing Tej through slightly, and then perhaps use him for DRS a little bit later on. But well, clearly he's not, both of those drivers clearly probably not too happy with that. As we see Nelly actually, who's gaining a lot of time on Tennis Optional because Tennis Optional has gone into the pit lane. So the top three will all go into the pit at some point. Let's see what Tennis Optional goes on to. No doubt another set of mediums. So he's chosen that soft medium strategy, as I believe we had a little bit of a glitch there, ladies and gents. So apologies for that. But he is onto those medium tyres, and he will be coming out just around 8th or 9th. TJ's just making his way through, and F1 Richard just making his way through as well, so he's going to be very close. He's going to come onto the back of this battle actually with Joe Hamster and F1 Richard, so very interesting to see, and he will have that very, very fresh rubber, of course, and F1 Richard on those hard tyres. It'll be interesting to see what will happen when, well, if Tennis Optional rather gets close up to Brennan's, and then maybe we'll see them having a battle. Of course, Brennan's on those hard tyres, but he is way further up. But Tennis Optional on those mediums, he was pretty quick on the mediums at the start, I have to say. We'll see what he can do here. He's perhaps pushing Joe Hamster a little bit to get a move on down the Mistral Straight onto F1 Richard. Let's see what the drivers can do as we're on board with Tennis Optional. Very, very quick speed between them two there. And, well, very nice move. Look at that. Tennis Optional makes it nicely into 9th position, and he now looking at the back of the AlphaTauri, the sister Red Bull team, of course, as well, some could say. So he'll be looking to overtake him as well, but they had a massive top speed advantage over F1 Richard. So perhaps that's a setup thing, perhaps that's just an ERS thing, and of course a DRS thing as well, probably. So definitely DRS aided, definitely ERS aided as well. So that was the very big difference there, as Joe Hamster goes a little bit wide, and Tennis Optional is going to take that position. Very nice. And he's up into 8th position, Joe Hamster. He's into 9th place. He's only done one lap on his medium tyres, so they're pretty fresh as well. And now we're having a little bit of a pack form up here from 6th onwards. So 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th, as well as F1 Richard, just about staying in touch with these guys. And Racing Tej soon enough will be in touch with them as well. As Tim Manzi heads into the pit lane, he'll be putting on no doubt another set of medium tyres. Yes, he will. He's going to be serving some of those penalties. So yes, some of the drivers will be serving the penalties in the pit lane. We'll see what that does, but we're going to stay on board with this pack. Very interesting battle coming on as Tennis Optional is going to look at that inside line. He definitely had to think about it. No doubt a warning for the Red Bull driver there as he picks up another penalty. But very nice pack forming up here. We've got two hard tyre runners leading it so far, but the two medium runners behind definitely catching them. They'll be looking to make moves on them down the straight very, very soon. We'll see what these drivers can do. It's a very big DRS train here. TJ is going to be the first to blink. He's going to make the move on Louis. The two hard tyre runners getting a little bit tussly there. Tennis Optional is going to go down the inside of Louis as well. And Joe Hamster now, look at this. This is brilliant, ladies and gentlemen. We have quite literally, I think, a four-way battle for the 4th position. And look at this. We're going to have a 3-wide through turn 10. Let's see what the drivers can do. This is brilliant. It's almost like a nice little formation we've got going on there. And the drivers are just tussling about, and they're having quite a nice battle there. Tennis Optional just dropping up behind the hard tyre runner. Joe Hamster was taking advantage of that nicely. And Tennis Optional, he's looking very hungry for the 6th position. Louis, of course, leaving the space open there. Tennis Optional thought about it. He stuck his nose down there, but he didn't quite make the move. What a brilliant racing we just had there through the last sector. Absolutely brilliant there as Eric pancakes into the pit lane for us. Ahead of soft tyres, Tennis Optional hits Louis a little bit there. I don't know if he's got front wing damage. We'll see through turn 1 as he heads through there. But he did make a little bit of contact with the Renault driver, and F1 Richard is now getting onto the back of this. Tennis Optional, unfortunately, losing out a little bit after that battle. So he'll be wanting to make his way up. Perhaps he's a little bit frustrated about the penalties there. Thought I saw rain on my screen. Got a little bit worried there at first, but no rain, fortunately. For the drivers, Joe Hamster getting very close to TJW. He made a very nice move in that 3-way battle. He was very much the winner so far, and he's just about to be even more of a winner because I assume, well, he'll probably make a move on TJW down the Mistral Straight. Let's see what he can do with the DRS. With the ERS, TJW already taken to the inside line. I wonder if he's going to defend it much. Not sure if he's defending or letting him through, but either way, he's not going to make it too difficult for Joe Hamster. and he's going to make his way up into 4th position very nicely. A few red tyres we see coming out, likes of Eric Pancakes on those soft tyres. Very good strategy choice from him now. He stretched out those mediums as far as he could, so very interesting strategy from the Racing Point driver. And interestingly, now if the race was to finish as it is exactly right now, we'll have the exact same finishing grid for the top 3 as we did in Silverstone. So Nelly in 1st, Brennon's in 2nd, and Eric Pancakes in 3rd. But Eric Pancakes, of course, on that soft tyre, and Brennon's on that hard tyre. Of course, they're 2 tyre compounds apart in grip, so plenty of opportunity for the Racing Point driver, I'm sure, to make his moves as Tim Manzi makes a move on Craig a little bit further down the grid there. Well, this pack is now splitting up a little bit. Tennis Optional did manage to make his way past Louis, so we did miss that on stream a little bit. But he made his way past Louis, and will be looking to make his way past TJ soon enough. Definitely be looking to make his way up to TJ. He's done a 5/10 quicker lap than he normally does, so he's definitely pushing as hard as he can. He wants to make his way up to that podium position as soon as possible, as Nelly came, I believe, into the pit lane as well. Yes, he did. So he's come onto those soft tyres, put on a fresh set of rubber for him, and he let Joe Hamster through just about. Well, look at that, almost around the outside there, off turn 5. Very brave from the Alfa Romeo driver, I have to see. Finding gaps wherever he can, making moves wherever he can as well. Can he make the move? Very nice and easy. I don't think it's going to be too difficult for him. Joe Hamster won't quite have DRS, and I don't think he'll be wanting to fight that particularly much either, because, of course, Nelly on those soft tyre runners, perhaps a few of those medium runners kicking themselves a little bit for not stretching their tyres out longer, or maybe they didn't want to do that because they would have got a puncture. So currently, Brennon's is on 12 laps on those hard tyres, but he will safely, I think, make it to the end without a puncture. Well, again, I'm probably speaking a bit too soon, but we'll see. We'll see what he could do. We'll stay on board with Tennis Optional here, who's still getting onto the back of TJ. Still very much putting the pressure onto the Williams driver. He is on that softer rubber. He's finally making his way through. He had struggled a little bit with this 3-way battle initially. He dived down the inside there. TJW had to go wide. I think he wasn't expecting a move there, but maybe that's just the Dutch driver, of course, putting the pressure on the Williams driver so far, and he's all over the back of him. You can see he's got more grip. He's gaining in the braking zone. He's gaining through the corners. Will he make a move down the start-finish straight with DRS? Perhaps he will. It's 22 laps out of 27. It's getting to the end of the race, and he'll be wanting to make those moves as soon as he possibly can. Oh, well, he's definitely got a lot more patience than I thought he did. He's going to stay behind him and make a few moves later on, but Tennis Optional, he's looking hungry for that podium. I know he is. He qualified very well, and he wants to just do that qualifying some justice, so he's all over the back, and the Williams driver no doubt will be making a move soon enough. Yeah, bit of a disappointing race from him again, but it's not quite over yet. 5 laps left to go, and I'm sure he's hungry for more points. We'll see what he can do. You can see that gap ranging around about of those 4/10. He's using up all of that battery. He sees the blinking red light. He knows he can make the move quite easily. He's got a blinking red light himself, though, so using up plenty of that battery. But down the inside he goes. Not quite so easy, though, because TJ is going to defend it around the outside there on those hard tyres. So despite having that grip disadvantage, almost, you could say, he's not going to struggle with it at all. He's just going to sweep around the outside of the Dutch driver, and he's going to keep that 5th position so far. 12 laps on those hard tyres, and Tennis Optional still catching up to him a little bit. He's no doubt getting a little bit frustrated, but TJ defending very nicely. I have to say, he's on course for some good points for Williams and the constructors. This will do them very nicely. We're seeing a little bit of a position shuffle because between Darrell Whiffen and Louis there. Good to see between the two of them. But yeah, again, grip advantage, you can see it. TJW just going slightly wide, he's locking up. He's definitely feeling the pressure here. And no doubt the move will be made soon enough, and no doubt, I'm sure, Tennis Optional will want to make that move as soon as possible. Very interesting, though. Eric Pancakes, like I said, the gap was around about, I think, 5 seconds out of the pit lane, and just as you could see, the soft tyres, that grip advantage is just mega. And I mean, Eric Pancakes was leading the race. He had such an advantage already, and I mean, he's very, very quick around here. Now, he's getting all over the back of Brennon's, and he's going to overtake him, no doubt, for the lead, and no doubt they'll probably stay that way because he's on that soft tyre. Brennon's won't, unfortunately, be able to do much, and look at that. I mean, I doubt he's going to fight that too much anyways. Perhaps he'll want to stay onto the back of the Racing Point driver. That'll probably be exactly what he wants to do. Stay onto the back of him and protect himself from Nelly, who's also on that soft tyre. He's probably very conscious of this. We'll see. Sinus Optional makes a move finally on TJW down the Mistral Straight, and as well Daryl Whiffen getting very close. Daryl, of course, looking to avenge himself after Silverstone after that slightly disappointing performance, doing quite well, doing quite nicely so far, and he's getting onto the back of this battle. TJW and Sinus Optional have been battling it out for the past few laps, of course, and Sinus Optional couldn't quite make it through at the start, but he's finally done it. We'll see if he can keep that position so far. Daryl Whiffen, though, now getting all over the back of the Williams driver. He is also on the soft tyres. So very much this soft kind of hard battle playing out. And we'll see what the AlphaTauri driver can do. As we head through the final few corners, a lot of blinking red lights. The driver's already running out of battery towards the end of this race. Again, all over the back of him. More over the back of him than Sinus Optional was, drifting out a little bit as well. We'll see what the two drivers can do. Both of them drifting out a little bit, actually. Both of them having that DRS rather, on Sinus Optional. So this DRS train not really helping out. I wonder if TJW will be able to make that move on Sinus Optional towards the end of the race, or will Sinus Optional be able to take advantage of this rubber? Of course, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we do have penalties, so still plenty of penalties to play for. TJW perhaps staying close to Sinus Optional, knowing he can take advantage of that penalty, and Daryl Whiffen may be putting pressure on TJW as there's a penalty there, and we have a yellow flag in Sector 3, as I believe that was Racing Tej in Sector 3, as we could see, not quite see, he's off to the right side of the, not in Sector 3 rather, he retired in the pit lane, apologies, didn't quite see that there the first time round. But yeah, he's retired there, so perhaps he wasn't running quite the race he wanted to. And Daryl Whiffen getting all over the back of the Williams driver now. Wonder if he's going to make a move on him through turn 10. Ooh, the Williams driver going to defend. He's perhaps getting a little bit conscious of the AlphaTauri's presence. Can he make the move? Oh, getting very comfortable with those track limits. He almost loses the rear end there, and the Williams sweeps round him. Says thank you very much, but the Williams has gone wide, of course, and Daryl Whiffen's going to take advantage of this quite nicely. He's got this penalty. He needs to overtake him if he wants any chance of making his way up the grid and negating the time penalty here, but he's all over the back of the Williams, just can't quite make the move. A little bit awkward between him. He almost was using up, I mean, I dare say, a lot of that track to try and make a move on him, perhaps getting a little bit too comfortable with the track limits there, and as we can see, maybe a little bit too comfortable, but nonetheless it's fine because, well, he's going to make a move on TJ now. He'll be lucky to make as much of a gap as he can. Can he make the move round the outside of turn 1? This is going to be brave if I've ever seen one, and look at that. Well, he's just about made the move around the outside, got the inside line there, squeezing TJW out. And to be fair to TJW, he's on those 15 laps hard tyres. He tried his best to defend there. I think we've seen quite a bit of a defensive masterclass from him. So very nice to see as Nelly is catching onto the back of Brennon's, and he's going to make a move for second place. Brennon's on those hard tyres. That soft, medium, soft strategy proving out to be a little bit quicker, as we can see. And, well, look at that. He's made a move onto the Mercedes drivers. He couldn't quite stay in touch with Eric Pancakes there, Brennon's, and unfortunately couldn't get that DRS from Eric Pancakes to defend from Nelly from very long. As we can see, Eric Pancakes just in the distance there almost. He's 2 seconds ahead of Brennon's, and of Nelly, rather. So he's got plenty of time between himself and the Alfa Romeo driver, as we saw TJW, I believe, or no, Tally rather, one of the two picking up a penalty there. So still penalties being dished out. The steward's definitely not gone to sleep just yet around here in France. Brennon's, yeah, he looks like he's got a comfortable 9-second gap over the likes of Johannes, to someone who's making moves now currently. Tin Man Z is in 12th position. He'll be looking to get positions. McLaren normally scoring plenty of points here at every race, but so far, yeah, not having that much luck through here, as we see a bit of a yellow flag through. No, Wonder, no. Oh, Stephen has got another puncture, I believe. I'm not sure if it's another, but I mean, this man, he got a puncture in Austria. He's got, I think, 2 punctures here. And wow, look at that. He's just gone into the pit lane again on those hard tyres. That's really, really tough for the McLaren drivers. Terrible luck for the British-based team. As I said, normally picking up plenty of points, and unfortunately, they're not going to be getting many tonight. In fact, I don't think they're going to be getting any, but we'll see if Tim Manzi has anything to say about that. He's got a second gap to Spud, excuse me. So he'll be looking to vanquish that gap and maybe make a move on him soon enough. TJW still staying close to Darren Whiffen. He's trying to stay within that DRS and Louis, attempting to get close to the likes of TJ as well. There's a little bit of shuffling. Craig is slowly making his way down. Unfortunately, the grid he's tumbled down after his disconnection, unfortunately, so that is not very good. Talking about that 1 second gap, where is that 1 second gap? Because it's all of a sudden gone. It's almost, well, it's completely vanished, like I said. And Tin Man Z is on the back of Spud now. We'll see what he can do. He's got a little bit of battery now. Will he be able to make a move on the Red Bull driver? It's lap 26 out of 27. He's still got a little bit more time. Still got a few more DRS zones to make a move. But he's not going to be very patient with it. He's going to say, well, we're going to make it now. Or will he? Because Spud's going to defend clearly with a little bit of battery as well through turn 10. Almost a brave move. We saw a few drivers attempt that move today. A few drivers get it a little bit wrong as well with these battles, and Tin Man Z getting so much traction off of the Red Bull driver. He's all over the back of him. A little bit of contact between the two of them. We've seen this again a little bit today, but no worries. Can't imagine it's too much of a worry from Tin Man Z. Not really sure how many penalties the two of them have, but judging by how they're fighting, I guess they're trying to keep each other back because they have the same penalty. We'll see that in the standings, however, and we'll see what will happen at the end of the start-finish straight. So Spud, no doubt, defending the inside line. Tin Man Z with the DRS and overtake. He's not going to defend the inside line completely because Tin Man Z is going to take it down the inside through turn 1. A nice move from the McLaren driver there. He's into 10th place. He's currently holding on and clutching on very dearly, I assume, onto that point. The only constructors point McLaren will get today. And, I mean, by the looks of it, Alfa Romeo look very strong, and they look like they might just overtake them in the constructor standings, as we see Tinus option now getting close to the likes of Joe Hamster. I wonder if I'm going to see a move shuffle through them. Of course, now we're heading over. It's lap 27 out of 27. We're now finishing off the race, and Eric Pancakes, Nelly, he tried to take that gap down. It was about 2.8, 2.7 seconds, and he's brought it down to 1.4 seconds. So a strong drive from the Alfa Romeo driver again, and he's going to have a little bit of silver in his IRL debut standings for once, which will, well, no doubt will be a little bit welcome to him. Still podium finishes for the Alfa Romeo driver nonetheless as they cross the line. Eric Pancakes does take the victory here in France at the Invictus PlayStation Formula 4 League. We'll see if Tinus Optional can make a move on Joe Hamster. No, he won't. He has a penalty anyway, so I don't think he was looking too much for a move there towards the end, but they cross the line as well in 4th and 5th, and we see Daryl Whiffen there. A nice finish from the AlphaTauri driver there in 7th position, and he's being knocked down a little bit down the standings. We're now seeing some of these penalties take effect. We'll see Tin Man Z can take advantage of any of these penalties. I don't think so. He's got quite a big gap to Louis, and I no doubt Louis got a bit of a gap from the rest of the drivers as well. But well, he had a bit of a difficult start, the McLaren driver did, but he made his way back, and he's got at least some points there today. And we're seeing now towards the back of the grid, the last few drivers crossover. Oh, Stephen, he got very unlucky with his strategy today. Puncture mania for him, unfortunately, I think, and well, he'll cross the line in 14th position. No doubt a little bit disappointed with his performance, but he's still got a little bit of time left in this season to make some more moves, to get some more points. So yeah, perhaps a bit disappointed from the McLaren driver, but no, he'll have more opportunities as they come, as the game announces F1 Richard is his driver of the day. But well, very interesting race so far. We see Eric Pancakes celebrating with his victory there. Yeah, what can I say? A very good drive from the Racing Point driver. He was ahead of the pack in many ways, and he had a 5-second gap, I think, to most of the drivers. And Nelly almost made his way to him, but I'm sure if he had a little bit more time, a few more laps, maybe he would have got within that DRS, maybe he would have made a move. But ultimately, the Racing Point team taking the win there with Brennan's in 2nd position and Nelly in 3rd. A little bit of a switch up from Silverstone, so not quite the same, but Brennan still where he finished last time around in Britain. Joe Hamster lines up in 4th for the AlphaTauri team. Nice finish from him from 9th to 7th. TGW lines up in 5th, and F1 Richard going from 15th to 6th. It must be said, a strong performance for Mercedes. So yeah, he couldn't quite, F1 Richard, I think, very good points finish for him for once. So he's not quite got many points in the past few races, but plenty of points this evening. Tinus Optional in 7th, of course, bit of a disappointing race for him. Daryl Whiffen in 8th with Louis in 9th, birthday boy, getting a few points there today. And Tin Man Z in 10th, managing a point there after a little bit of a tough start, so good to see from him. So Spud finds himself in 11th after making his way through from 16th position. Nice to see. Prezi boy in 12th. In 13th we have Towley. O Stephen in 14th after his, well, his punctures, and yeah, very unlucky with the tyre strategy, like I said. Craig in 15th after a few disconnections and problems. Racing Tej in 16th. And Lewis Williams in 17th. And the Ferrari drivers both retiring, I think, there. So, yeah, not good for the Ferrari constructors either. we'll just be waiting on some of the podium finishers to join the party. And I think it'll be the same podium finishers from last time around, so you'll be a little bit familiar with their voices, ladies and gents. But no doubt we'll see them probably a little bit more often towards the end of the season as well. But yeah, very interesting race from the drivers today, as we're seeing them just come through into the podium right now. Don't quite go yet, ladies and gents. We've still got the podium interviews left for you, so make sure you stay tuned for them. Still a bit more to find out about their races tonight. Just waiting on Eric Pancakes, of course, he has joined here. I'd just like to make sure that these guys have their voices set to share. I think they did actually last time, so I don't think it'll be too much of a problem there. So, of course, now Eric Pancakes, well, taking the win there. You got I think a third position last time around in Silverstone, but you had, I mean, I have to say, you drove a brilliant race today. You had I think a big gap over the rest of the podium finishers, over second actually, for most of that race. I mean, how did you do it today?
It was, I mean, the start was unbelievable. I thought I'd take the gamble to go between optional and I can't remember, Brennan, I think it was.
It's me, mate.
Yeah, I went through it and I thought I'm just going to take it now, and once I was through, I got pace and got out of the DRS zone. The only unfortunate thing, after my first pit stop, I made a stupid mistake. I wanted to pass F1 Richards way too fast, so made a spin, but even then I
we
found
didn't
pace
catch that on
back.
screen. But yeah, no, you still had, I'm pretty sure you had a big enough advantage to well, that spin didn't really count much towards the race in the end, but still a very good race from you today.
Thank you.
And Brennan's yeah, you're in second position. Perhaps you I mean, you're probably looking for first there, and you were on that hard tire there. Were you just well, did you think that was the strategy of choice tonight? And perhaps are you a little bit doubtful after the race if that was the right choice?
No, I thought it was the way to go, and I was surprised that everyone else started two-stopping. So yeah, I was really pleased that I stayed to the one stopper. And as soon as after turn one, I was at the back of the grid. I'm really pleased.
Yeah, no, very well done, I have to say as well, from the back of the grid with the hard tires. Of course, forgot that you did that, but very nice from you there. And Nelly, of course, Nelly was in Brennan's, wasn't? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, Nelly was in second position there as well, actually. So a little bit mixed up there, I think. Yeah, I was just. Yeah, it was time penalties, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Nelly, you were on that soft tire and you were making your way up. You were making your way through, of course. And perhaps if you had a few more laps, you would have maybe made it to Eric Pancakes. But you were driving a really strong stint on the soft tires there at the end. How did the race go for you tonight?
Well, in the beginning it went quite good. I was able to capitalize on Brennan spinning. And then it was quite hard to get past Tinas, and yeah, it was already going into the distance, so I was a little bit worried. Then on lap 7 or so, last lap on my soft stint, I had a spin at the same time with Steven, I think, in the same corner as well. And then I pitted, I saved the DRS for that stint, and then decided to push. I got stuck in traffic pretty bad because I spun, and then in the last stint, yeah, I was able to push very hard. I had clean air, and yeah, I was having a lot of trouble because I had a lot of track limits warnings, so I got 6 seconds penalty.
Yeah, well, no doubt, still a good race from you, and still very impressive from you on your debut season, of course. And just back to Eric Pancakes really quickly again. So, of course, I have to say you drove a very strong race here today. And looking forward to the next week, we have China. How are you looking at China? Are you confident for that race as well?
I need to practice. I need to practice to fight that same pace. It's not my favorite circuit.
Yeah, China's definitely quite difficult. Very different to France. I think very different to the past few tracks we've had. Quite twisty and quite reliant on that high downforce. And obviously, China has that very long back straight, which doesn't really aid the high downforce setup. So it'll be interesting to see what the drivers can do there Then, as always, yeah, thank you very much, ladies and gents, for watching the show tonight. Do make sure to leave a like on the stream if you've enjoyed it. Of course, follow Invictus Racing League on all of our social media platforms and subscribe to our channel as well. We have the Realistic Performance League for you tomorrow evening with Malc and Tim, so do tune into that. Make sure to not miss it. That'll be interesting to watch, no doubt. We've had a great week of racing so far, and I'm sure we'll finish it off even better. And do make sure to head to the website as well, invictusracingleague.com, and head to the Apply to Race section if you want to get involved with the community. But from all of us here tonight at the F4 League, we all hope you sincerely enjoyed that this evening, and we look to see you next week. But it's a good evening and good night from all of us here.